guys at the MVPs. He belongs in that conversation with him because he's the only one out of those with the elite quarterbacks that we talk about that now has a Super Bowl. You know, I mean, these MVPs are great, but, like, I've never been a regular season MVP. I won a finals MVP, and that's the only trophy I would ever want is the Super Bowl MVP trophy. And, you know, we have to hats off.
That's good, though. I got 2 guys out of the 3 on the desk that have come around. That is amazing.
He's officially
2 of the 3 on the desk.
He's officially in the big 4
Let me see what the third has to say.
On Jalen Hurts' side for years.
Look at the big 4. That's my big 4.
Pales in comparison to a championship. We've got a former league MVP right here on the set right now in Cam. I ask you, Cam, if you could give back that league MVP for a Super Bowl championship, would you do it?
Nope.
Oh.
Really?
Really?
Wow.
Because you have to ask it through this lens. That was a very journalistic viewpoint or vantage point or response, Stephen A. I'll ask you this question, and, you know, just to pose this thought. What's more important, impact or championships? You look at a guy like Allen Iverson, or you stood up on the table and blah, 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 blah. Everybody's not going to be Michael Jordan. Everybody's not going to be Patrick Mahomes. Everybody's not going to be these individuals who have the luxury of saying, hey, I not only dominated this sport, but I also have championships to back it. Like, let me remind you, Brad Johnson won a Super Bowl. Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl. Respectfully, Nick Foles won a Super Bowl. So, yes, when you look at those guys and you say, okay, what's more important? Would you have preferred to win a Super Bowl? I think that's the humble approach. But if we're being honest, the impact of you holding yourself accountable to say everybody has a responsibility to do. And you can say as an MVP award winner or an All-American, you've held yourself or you've held your end of the bargain down. And that's what it really comes down to for me. I know that's not the popular pick. I'm trying to be popularized. But my take is I'm taking individual success because I did my job. Football is not about one guy trying to do 11 jobs. Mm-hmm. It's 11 guys doing one job, and it's 11 guys doing one job. And if everybody does their job best, famous words of our coach Belichick, just do your job.
Let's do it.
Okay, so obviously.
Yeah. Okay, so let's actually start with Cam Newton. So he said he'd rather have his MVP award than a Super Bowl ring. He said, I'll ask you this question. What is most important, impact or championships? Everybody is not going to be Michael Jordan. Everybody is not going to be Patrick Mahomes. Everybody is not going to be these individuals who have the luxury of saying, hey, I not only dominated this sport, but I also have championships to back it. So in your opinion, Maurice, what do you think is the better award? And then what do you think of Cam Newton's viewpoint?
Yeah, I can't wait to hear it.
Nah. You can't really say somebody's right or wrong. It's just all a matter of personal preference, right? And so, and this was just built on when I heard T.O. and Mike have their banter, back and forth. And so when I heard Cam Newton say it, it made me think about what T.O. had said about Mike. But I had texted something the other day before T.O. had came on about the cheetah and being out in Kansas City and him basically being a potential multi-Super Bowl champion and what that could do if he was proficient in business and what it could do for his life long after he gets done playing. And him going to chase the money or chase potentially being an MVP of the league, going down to Miami, and you've seen it doing that with him. And I know I'm long-winded. I know I'm kind of everywhere with this. But me personally, I would choose the championships just because I understand what it could do for you long-term. You obviously see what I would say Mike Tyson, Michael Irvin is still doing down in Dallas. You see how beloved he is by the fan base, and people recognize him and look at him as a champion, being part of a team and just basically being part of a dynasty or sort of in people's memories. People tend to forget year over year who was the actual MVP, but they typically don't forget the championships and how these people have felt during these times when people went on these championship runs. And so I won a championship, and I make a lot of money to this day from winning a championship. Had I won a Heisman Trophy or an MVP of a league, I don't know if that's the same thing. And that's not a shot at Cam Newton. That's just my viewpoint on it. And I'm not saying that Cam Newton is wrong, but I would prefer a championship.
Do you prefer the championship or the MVP award, which is more individual?
And what did Cam Newton say?
Yeah, so he said, what is most important, impact or championships? Because he said everybody's not going to be Michael Jordan, everybody's not going to be a Patrick Mahomes.
What did he say he'd rather have?
Oh, he said he'd rather have the MVP award.
Okay, that's what I got from him.
Yeah, so I 100% agree with Mo. I'm surprised, but I 100% agree with you, Mo, you know, when it comes to this, because in Titletown, this is the mindset of champions. What we're looking at here is the mindset of, and I take Cam Newton out of it, right? This is the mindset of when you can't win, all you could settle for is the MVP because you can't win. So that's just where you find yourself being the best that you could be because your team is not able to win. When we're all out on the field, when everyone is on the basketball court or the tennis court or wherever we are, the boxing ring or any place, you're there to win. The winners are the ones, like Mo said, who's going to be remembered. We remember John Wooden because he won. We don't remember all the time Steve Nash. His name is not brought up, though he got several MVPs. We're going to remember Joker because not only did he get the MVP, he won. You know, when you win, it raises your legacy to a new height that it doesn't do for some of the people who were just great. I was just earlier today looking at something with my family, and I was like, Rolando Blackman. They like, Dad, that's where you got the number 22 from. But I forgot about Rolando Blackman. We don't talk about Rolando Blackman. They were showing the clips, Killer, where he was going like this to Michael Jordan, and he was getting any bucket he wanted on Michael Jordan. But we don't remember those games. Nobody probably on this stage remember those games of him like firing up the young Mike with Cam Newton on that play. But that's the difference between winner's mindset and not Cam, take him out of it, but a selfish mentality. When you're selfish, you gotta do the best you could do for yourself because you can't do it for the team.
You remember Reggie Miller. You remember John Stockton. None of these people are champions, so I get both sides of the equation. I think Cam Newton personally, and I can't speak for him, just my personal thought, is that he didn't win, and he did win the league MVP. So that's what he's going to say.
He speak for them.
Yeah, exactly. That's my opinion. But I do agree winning counts, and it matters. It's even like we're talking about with Mo and his career in college. He wasn't no regular nigga. I don't know the other niggas that was on Mo team when they won. I know Mo was the star, and the quarterback was the star. Outside of that, I can't tell you the left tackle name.
Opinions, comments out there? So that was in response to Stephen A. Smith asking him on air, live, would you give up your league MVP award if you could trade it in for a Super Bowl? And you could tell Stephen A. and everyone at the desk just thought, oh, that's a cookie cutter question. We know we're going to get yes to that. And Cam said no. And all their jaws hit the ground. Like, hold up now. You're telling us you won the league MVP. You never won a Super Bowl. You're telling me you would not trade that league MVP award for a Super Bowl. He said, no, I wouldn't. I want the individual award over the team award. So, first bit of feedback I got, because I hated it. So the first bit of feedback I got was, wow, you just don't get what he's saying. Guys, all due respect, I get what he's saying. This is not a situation where the words were just too big and the topic was just too complex. I get what he's saying. And I do give him full credit because there are a lot of other people out there who think that way that would never admit it on air. So I want to begin. Let me be very clear. I give Cam Newton a ton of credit. I give Cam Newton, maybe not infinite amounts. I give Cam Newton a lot of credit. He feels that way, and he's willing to say it. A lot of other guys feel that way, too. They just would never say it publicly. So everyone's free to feel how they want to feel. I guess there's no technical right or wrong here. But I think circling back to college football, I talked to a number of coaches who saw me tweet that out today, and I said, man, if I'm you, I'm playing that for my whole team today. And I'm asking my guys. I'm not telling them how to think. I'm asking them, which one are you? Which one of you? Because all due respect, man, if you're falling down that rabbit hole, if you're chasing the individual awards and you're using the cop-out excuse of, hey, it's okay if I chase individual glory because if I win, that means I played at a high level and that means I put my team in the best position to win. It's always a cop-out. I get the logic behind it, but see, it's always a cop-out because there are some guys out there who are not Cam Newton. In fact, every human I've ever encountered walking the planet's not Cam Newton because he's one of one. So, Cam Newton, to his credit, could afford to think that way and still put you in position to win a national championship or still put you in position to win a Super Bowl. Most guys aren't that. Most guys, as he said, are not capable of ever performing at a level where you're going to win individual accolades. That is where team mentality comes into play. Team mentality, or culture, if you want to call it that, that's what ultimately determines how far you can go as a collective. I don't know how many people who are listening to or watching the show have played team sports. I think most of you have. You do not have to have played in the NFL. You do not have to have played for a Super Bowl to understand how sweet it is when collectively a group of people sacrifice individual glory for the greater good of the team and you accomplish what you set out to accomplish. It's the most fulfilling, satisfying feeling that you could ever imagine. Most people don't ever get to experience it. But if you've ever been on a team where you could truly tell that chemistry that you long for is here in this room, Notre Dame almost did it. I was around Notre Dame. Ohio State had this same thing this year. You've got a bunch of guys who are individually extremely talented, and yet no one seemingly is chasing the individual award. Notre Dame, same way, a little different team dynamic there. You didn't have as many individual stars, but everyone's all in for the team. And Ohio State ended up accomplishing what they set out to accomplish. I promise you, you walk around that locker room, you go ask Caleb Downs or go ask Will Howard, hey, would you guys, if you could have won the Heisman this year, would you trade this feeling for that Heisman? I promise you, those guys are saying no. I think if you've won the individual award, but you never won the ultimate team award, it makes perfect sense that you're going to answer that way. Like, of course he's not going to sit there on live TV, as it turns out, and say, yeah, I kind of consider my career incomplete because I didn't win a Super Bowl. Well, I got this league MVP. Yeah, I trade this league MVP for a Super Bowl. I mean, it's probably not the best personal branding, but I think about that sound against the backdrop of what it takes to win. Because I don't watch football for individuals.